Hello, and welcome to Sleepy Psychology. If you found your way here tonight, perhaps it's because you've been curious about the hidden patterns that shape your days, the quiet forces that guide your choices, color your perceptions, and influence your connections without you ever noticing. You're not imagining it, and you're not alone in wondering. Tonight, we're going to explore one of the most fascinating aspects of being human. Not what you think, but how you think. Not what you choose, but what quietly shapes those choices. The invisible architecture of human behavior that's been guiding you since the moment you were born. This isn't about fixing yourself or becoming someone different. It's about understanding something far more profound. About discovering that so much of what you do, feel, and believe isn't random at all. It's predictable, natural, and beautifully human. We'll journey through the landscape of the mind together. We'll discover why you forget things when you walk through doorways, why rejection feels like physical pain, and why you're terrible at predicting what will make you happy. We'll understand how plants make you more honest, why dim lighting changes your ethics, and how simply nodding your head makes you more agreeable. We'll explore why you touch your face without thinking, how your phone drains your intelligence just by being nearby, and why you walk slower when you're with someone you care about. We'll uncover the strange ways your body and mind talk to each other, how the world around you whispers suggestions you follow without hearing, and why belonging matters more than logic ever could. There are 100 facts woven into this journey. 100 pieces of psychology transformed into a story that will carry you deeper and deeper into understanding, and eventually, into the rest you've been seeking. This journey will take us 2 hours. 2 hours where you don't have to do anything. Where you don't have to analyze or remember or figure anything out. You can simply listen, drift, and let the story carry you wherever you need to go. Some of you will hear every word. Some will drift in and out, catching pieces here and there. Some will fall asleep in the first 10 minutes. All of these are perfect. There's no wrong way to experience this. Before we begin, get comfortable. Adjust your pillows. Let your body settle completely into the surface beneath you. You won't need to move again. Take a slow breath in, and release everything you've been carrying today. Again, breathing in the quiet, breathing out the noise. One more time. In, and let go. If you're already feeling sleepy, that's wonderful. If your mind is still active, that's perfectly natural. Wherever you are right now is exactly where you're supposed to be. So soften your gaze, or let your eyes close completely. Relax your jaw. Let your shoulders drop away from your ears. You are safe here. The night is long. There's nowhere you need to be. Nothing you need to do. No test to pass. No performance required. You can simply be here, breathing, listening, allowing your mind to wander wherever it wants to go. And now, let's begin this gentle journey together, into the quiet patterns of human behavior, into the understanding of why you do what you do, into the discovery of what it means to be beautifully, imperfectly, wonderfully human. Breathe. Settle. Trust. The story of your mind is about to unfold, and all you have to do is listen and let go. Let's begin. Close your eyes. Take a slow breath in, and let it go. Let's begin gently, by noticing what's already happening, without effort, without trying. Watch two people who like each other. Not what they say, but how they move. You'll notice something quiet. One leans forward. The other leans forward. One crosses their legs. The other follows. We mirror the people we're drawn to. Unconsciously. Automatically. It's called the chameleon effect. Our bodies speak a language our minds don't always hear. When you like someone, you become their reflection. Not because you decide to, but because connection flows through gesture, through posture, through the silent choreography of being together. Step outside with a friend. Start walking. Don't plan it. Just walk. And notice, after a few moments, your steps will match. Left, right, perfectly synchronized. You didn't agree to this. You didn't count it out. But your bodies found each other's rhythm anyway. Humans walking together naturally fall into step. It's a tiny harmony, a wordless agreement. We sync without knowing, because moving together feels right, feels safe, feels like belonging. Think about something difficult right now. A complex problem. A memory you're trying to recall. Notice where your eyes go. They probably drift away. Up, to the side, somewhere into the middle distance. We unconsciously avoid eye contact when thinking deeply. The world becomes too much input. So we look away, not at anything in particular, just away, into a space where we can focus inward. Your gaze softens. Your attention turns. And in that turning away, you find what you're looking for. Right now, without thinking about it, you've touched your face recently. We all do. 16 to 23 times per hour. A hand to the chin. Fingers near the mouth. Brushing hair back. Rubbing an eye. We touch our faces constantly, a self-soothing gesture, a way of grounding ourselves in our bodies. You probably don't notice when you do it. Most people don't. But your hand knows. It reaches up again and again, seeking comfort in the familiar. Look at a cloud. A stain on the wall. The front of a car. What do you see? Faces. We see faces everywhere. In random objects. In patterns that mean nothing. It's called pareidolia. Our brains are so tuned to recognize faces, so dependent on reading expressions for survival, that we find them even where they don't exist. A power outlet looks surprised. The moon has eyes. We are face-seeking creatures, always searching, always finding, even in the inanimate world. Imagine you're lost. No map. No landmarks. No sun to guide you. Just trees or fog or empty space. You'd think you'd walk in a straight line. But you won't. Humans walk in circles when lost. We veer, usually to the right or left, slowly curving back on ourselves. Without reference points, we can't stay straight. Our bodies are imperfect compasses. We spiral inward, thinking we're moving forward, but really just tracing loops in the emptiness. Focus on something right now. Really concentrate. Notice your breath. Are you holding it? Most people do. When we concentrate deeply, when we're threading a needle or reading something complex or trying to remember, we unconsciously hold our breath. The body goes still, as if movement would disturb thought. We freeze, just for a moment, suspending even the rhythm of breathing, to make space for focus. Yawning is contagious. You've felt it. Someone yawns, and suddenly you need to yawn too. But here's what's interesting. The more empathetic you are, the more easily you catch yawns. It's a measure of your ability to feel what others feel. Children with autism yawn less when others yawn. Psychopaths rarely catch yawns at all. But if you're someone who feels deeply, who senses the emotions around you, yawns spread through you like ripples. You can't help it. Empathy opens you up, even to something as simple as a yawn. Words change the way you move. In a famous study, researchers had people unscramble sentences. Some sentences contained words like elderly, retired, bingo, wrinkle. Afterward, those people walked more slowly down the hallway. They didn't know why. They didn't decide to. But the words had primed them. Language seeps into the body. Ideas become movement. Just thinking about old age, even indirectly, made them move like someone older. We are more suggestible than we realize. Words aren't just sounds. They're instructions. Fear has a smell. We don't talk about it often, but we can detect it. When someone is afraid, their sweat changes. And others can smell that change, even if they don't consciously recognize what they're smelling. It triggers alertness. Caution. Your body reads the fear in someone else's scent and responds. We are chemical communicators. Silent. Invisible. But real. Fear moves through the air, and we know it. Before we know it. You are always observing yourself, even when you don't realize it. Your body speaks. Your movements reveal. And as you settle into this moment, let yourself notice. Without judgment, without effort, just noticing the quiet ways you exist, in this body, in this world, breathing softly, drifting gently, into awareness, and then beyond it, into rest. Let's drift into the quiet world of memory, where thoughts blur and fade like shadows at dusk. Have you ever walked into a room and completely forgotten why you were there? There's actually a name for this. It's called the doorway effect. When you pass through a doorway, your brain treats it as an event boundary, a moment where one scene ends and another begins. Your mind files away what you were just thinking about, and prepares for something new. It's not that you're forgetful. It's just your brain organizing the world into chapters. Each doorway is like turning a page. Now, think about a story someone told you last week. What do you remember? Chances are, you remember how it started, and how it ended. But the middle, that tends to fade away. This is known as the serial position effect. Our minds naturally hold onto beginnings and endings. They feel important, like bookends holding everything else in place. The first impression, the final word, these are what linger. Everything in between can blur together, slipping quietly into the background. There's something almost meditative about writing by hand. The slow movement of pen across paper. When you write something down by hand, you're not just recording information, you're building memory. Studies show that the physical act of forming letters helps your brain encode what you're learning. It's slower than typing, yes, but that slowness is the point. Your mind has time to absorb each word, each idea. The connection between hand and brain runs deep, deeper than we often realize. Here's a simple trick your mind already knows. Close your eyes. Just for a moment. When you close your eyes, you remove the distraction of the world around you. And suddenly, memories become clearer. Details you thought you'd forgotten rise to the surface. It's as if darkness gives your mind permission to look inward, to wander through the archives without interruption. Closing your eyes doesn't create new memories. It just lets you see the ones you already have. Memory is fragile. Surprisingly fragile. You can change what someone remembers just by changing how you ask about it. If someone witnesses an event and you later ask them, how fast was the car going when it smashed into the other car? They'll remember it differently than if you'd asked, how fast was the car going when it contacted the other car? One word, smashed versus contacted, and the memory shifts. Our minds are storytellers, constantly revising, constantly shaping the past to fit the present moment. There's something almost magical about rhymes. Information that rhymes feels more true. What sobers you up can mess you up sounds more believable than the same idea phrased differently. It's called the rhyme as reason effect. The musicality of language makes it feel more certain, more solid. Rhymes create patterns, and patterns feel like truth. Our minds are drawn to rhythm, to the comfort of repetition, to the feeling that something fits together just right. Your posture right now, the way you're sitting or lying down, it's connected to your memories. This is called state-dependent memory. If you learn something while sitting in a certain position, you're more likely to remember it when you return to that same position. Your body holds onto context. The way you hold yourself becomes part of the memory itself. This is why a familiar place can bring back forgotten feelings. Why a certain posture can unlock thoughts you didn't know were there. Patterns in space are easier to remember than random sequences. Think about your phone's unlock pattern. The one you trace with your finger. You probably couldn't tell someone the numbers you're hitting, but your hand knows the shape. Your brain loves spatial memory. It evolved to remember where things are, where the food was, where danger lurked, where home could be found. A pattern drawn through space becomes a map, and maps are what our minds were built to hold. We like to think we can multitask, checking email while listening to a meeting, texting while watching a show. But the truth is quieter than that. Your brain can't truly do two things at once. What feels like multitasking is actually rapid switching, your attention bouncing back and forth, fragmenting your focus. Each switch costs you something. A little bit of time, a little bit of clarity. When you try to do everything at once, you end up doing nothing quite as well. And finally, caffeine. That gentle stimulant that so many of us reach for. In small amounts, it can actually boost creativity. A mild dose opens up your thinking, makes connections feel easier, ideas flow a bit more freely. But too much caffeine does the opposite. It narrows your focus, tightens your thinking, makes you jittery and constrained. Like so many things, the sweet spot is gentle, moderate, just enough to lift you without overwhelming you. Memory is strange. The mind is vast. And as you settle into sleep tonight, let these thoughts drift away, like leaves on a quiet stream, fading softly into darkness. Let's sink deeper now, into the soft currents of feeling that guide us, often without us even knowing. We like to think we're rational, that we weigh the facts, consider the options, and arrive at sensible conclusions. But the truth is gentler and stranger. We make our decisions emotionally first. Something inside us simply knows what we want, what feels right, and only afterward does our logical mind get to work. It builds the case. It finds the reasons. It constructs the argument for what we've already chosen. Our emotions lead, and our logic follows behind, tidying up, making everything sound reasonable. We are feeling creatures who learn to think, not thinking creatures who learn to feel. Rejection hurts. Not metaphorically. Actually hurts. When someone excludes you, ignores you, turns away, the same regions of your brain light up as when you stub your toe or burn your hand. Social pain and physical pain share the same neural pathways. Your brain doesn't distinguish between a broken bone and a broken heart, at least not in the way you might expect. Both are threats. Both demand attention. Both ache in that deep, undeniable way. The pain of being left out is as real as any wound you can see. We're surprisingly bad at knowing what will make us happy. You might think that promotion will change everything, that new house will finally bring contentment, that relationship will complete you. But when you get there, the feeling is often different than you imagined. Smaller, more ordinary. We overestimate how long happiness will last, and we underestimate how quickly we adapt. The mind is always reaching forward, convinced the next thing will be the answer. But happiness is quieter than that. It lives in moments we often overlook, moments that can't be predicted or planned. Warmth is more than temperature. When you hold something warm, a cup of tea, a heated blanket, you tend to judge people more kindly. Physical warmth creates emotional warmth. The boundary between body and mind is thinner than we think. A cold room makes us feel isolated. A warm one makes us feel connected. Your nervous system doesn't separate these things cleanly. Temperature becomes mood. Sensation becomes perspective. The world around you shapes the world inside you. Hunger changes you. When your stomach is empty, you reach for more, even things you don't need. Hungry shoppers buy more non-food items than satisfied ones. It's as if the emptiness spreads. Your brain, sensing scarcity, tells you to gather, to acquire, to fill the void with something, anything. The body's needs bleed into behavior in ways we barely notice. A missed meal doesn't just make you irritable. It makes you want more of everything. Exhaustion strips away the masks we wear. When you're tired, truly tired, you become more honest. The energy required to maintain pretense fades. The carefully constructed version of yourself gets too heavy to hold. In fatigue, there's a kind of vulnerability. The filters drop away. What remains is something closer to truth. Not because you want to confess, but because you simply lack the strength to hide. Tiredness reveals us. Shame has a sound, or rather, a lack of one. When people talk about things they're ashamed of, their voices get quieter. It's instinctive, unconscious, as if speaking softly might make the shame smaller, less real. Volume carries confidence, and shame is the absence of confidence. It makes us want to shrink, to take up less space, to let our words barely reach the air. Listen to someone's voice drop, and you're likely hearing them brush against something tender. Being watched changes us. Even the feeling of being observed, a pair of eyes on a poster, a camera in the corner, makes people behave more ethically. We straighten up. We follow the rules. It's called the watching eyes effect. We are social creatures, constantly aware of judgment, or the possibility of it. The gaze of others, real or imagined, reminds us we exist in relation to the world. We perform goodness when we feel seen. Not always because we want to, but because something deep inside us responds to witness. Music shifts the space between people. Songs in major keys, bright, open, rising, make us more likely to cooperate. There's something about that particular harmonic structure that softens us, opens us up. Minor keys can bring introspection, melancholy, a turning inward. But major keys, they suggest possibility. They make the air feel lighter. And in that lightness, we're more willing to reach toward one another, to work together, to let our boundaries soften just a little. Time bends around beauty. When you're near someone you find attractive, time seems to move faster. Minutes slip by unnoticed. Conversations feel shorter than they are. Attraction doesn't just draw your attention, it warps your perception of duration itself. Beauty is absorbing. It pulls you into the present moment so completely that you lose track of how long you've been there. The clock keeps ticking, but your mind stops counting. Emotion runs beneath everything. It's the current that carries us, even when we think we're steering. And as you drift now, let these truths settle softly, knowing that feeling is not weakness, it's the foundation, the quiet ground, beneath all we do. We are woven together, in ways we don't always see, threads of connection that tie us softly to one another. There's a number that lives quietly in our social lives. About 150. That's how many meaningful relationships most of us can maintain at once. It's called Dunbar's number. 150 people whose lives matter to you, whose names you remember, whose stories you carry. Beyond that, connections start to fade. Not because we don't care, but because our minds have limits. We're built for tribes, not cities. For circles small enough that everyone knows everyone. 150 is the size of community our brains evolved to hold. Everyone else becomes background, familiar perhaps, but distant. Touch is powerful. Even the briefest contact, a hand on the shoulder, a light tap on the arm, makes people more generous. It's almost unconscious. A server who touches a customer's hand while returning change receives bigger tips. A stranger who touches your elbow while asking for help is more likely to receive it. Touch says, I see you. You're real. We're here together. It breaks through the invisible walls we carry. Just a moment of contact, and suddenly we're a little more willing to give. We're drawn to what's familiar. When someone shares your name, wears similar clothes, roots for the same team, you're more likely to be kind to them. It's called the similarity attraction effect. Similarities feel like signals. They whisper, this person is like me. They're safe. They're part of my group. It doesn't have to be anything profound. Even small coincidences, a shared birthday, a favorite color, can create warmth between strangers. We recognize ourselves in others, and that recognition softens us. Fear brings people closer. When you're scared alongside someone, riding a roller coaster, watching a thriller, navigating something uncertain, attraction can bloom. Your heart races, your breath quickens, and your mind, in its beautiful confusion, sometimes attributes those feelings to the person beside you. The rush of adrenaline doesn't come labeled. Your brain has to decide what it means. And if there's someone attractive nearby, the fear can transform into something else entirely. Danger shared becomes connection. Love often arrives in moments of heightened emotion. Not calm, not stillness, but arousal, excitement, intensity. When your emotions are already running high, when you're laughing hard or moved by music or caught up in an adventure, you're more susceptible to falling in love. The heart is already open. The gates are already down. Someone who enters your life in that heightened state slips in more easily. It's why travel romances feel so intense, why concerts and festivals spark connections. Emotion doesn't just accompany love, it prepares the ground for it. Rejection changes us. After recalling a time they were socially rejected, people become more helpful. It's counterintuitive. You'd think rejection would make us withdraw, turn inward, protect ourselves. But often it does the opposite. It reminds us what exclusion feels like, and that memory makes us gentler toward others. We reach out. We offer help. As if by being kind, we can repair something in ourselves. Rejection leaves us tender, and tenderness can become generosity. Smell shapes behavior in ways we barely notice. The scent of baked bread, fresh cookies, cinnamon rolls, it makes people more generous. Something about that warm, comforting aroma opens us up. It triggers associations with home, with care, with being nurtured. And in that space of comfort, we become more willing to give. Grocery stores know this. They pump the smell of fresh bread through the aisles. Not just to make you hungry, but to make you kinder to yourself, more willing to spend, to indulge, to say yes. A baby's face changes the world. Those round cheeks, big eyes, tiny features, they trigger something ancient in us. Even photos of babies increase altruistic behavior. We become more helpful, more protective, more willing to sacrifice. It's hardwired. Those features signal vulnerability, and vulnerability calls to us. We soften automatically. Our defenses drop. Even if the baby isn't ours, isn't real, is just an image on a screen, the response is the same. Cuteness isn't just aesthetic. It's evolutionary, a key that unlocks care. We mirror each other without realizing it. When you're sitting with someone who picks up their drink, you're more likely to pick up yours. Not because you decided to, but because mirroring is how we connect. It happens unconsciously. The speed at which people drink, the gestures they make, the way they cross their legs, we echo each other. It's called the chameleon effect. Mirroring builds rapport. It says, I'm like you. We're synchronized. It's social glue, applied without thought, binding us together in small, invisible ways. Touch increases tips. When a server lightly touches a customer on the hand or shoulder, tips go up. It's brief. It's subtle. Most people don't even consciously notice it happened. But the effect is real. That moment of contact creates a microbond. It personalizes the exchange. Suddenly, it's not just a transaction. It's a human moment. And we reward human moments. We're more generous when we feel seen. When someone reaches across the space between us, even for just a second. We are built for each other. Our nervous systems expect connection. Our behaviors orbit around belonging. And as you rest now, feel the invisible threads linking you softly to everyone who's ever mattered and everyone who ever will. The world around you is always speaking, in whispers, in light and shadow, shaping you in ways you don't see. Sunlight changes everything, not just your mood, but your focus, your energy, your ability to work. Natural light increases productivity. When daylight streams through a window, your body knows what time it is. Your circadian rhythm aligns. Your mind sharpens. Artificial light can't replicate this. It tries, but something is missing. The full spectrum. The subtle shifts throughout the day. Sunlight is information. It tells your body you're alive, you're awake, you're part of the turning world. And in that knowledge, you work better. Plants do something unexpected. They don't just clean the air or look pleasant. They increase honesty. When people are in rooms with plants, they're less likely to lie or cheat. There's something about the presence of living things, green, growing, quietly breathing alongside us, that makes us behave better. Maybe it's the reminder that we're not alone. Maybe it's the softness they bring to hard spaces. But plants witness us, and in their silent witness, we become a little more truthful. Mess has meaning. A dirty room, cluttered, disorganized, neglected, makes people judge moral transgressions more harshly. Physical disorder creates a desire for moral order. When the environment feels chaotic, we tighten our standards. We become stricter, less forgiving, as if by judging others, we can restore some sense of control. Cleanliness isn't just about hygiene. It's about the feeling that things are as they should be. And when they're not, we compensate by holding the line elsewhere. Darkness hides us. Dim lighting increases unethical behavior. When the lights are low, people cheat more, lie more easily, behave in ways they wouldn't under bright light. It's the feeling of anonymity, the sense that we're not quite seen. Shadows give us permission. They make us feel invisible, even when we're not. Brightness exposes. It reminds us we exist in a visible world. But darkness lets us pretend we can get away with things. Heat changes us. When temperatures rise, so does irritability. People become quicker to anger, more impatient, more aggressive. But only up to a point. Once it gets extremely hot, beyond uncomfortable into unbearable, something shifts. People become lethargic, too drained to fight. The anger melts into exhaustion. There's a sweet spot of heat where tempers flare most, warm enough to agitate, but not so hot that you can't move. Weather isn't just backdrop, it's mood made tangible. Even furniture speaks to us. Hard chairs, stiff, uncomfortable, unforgiving, make jokes seem funnier. It's called embodied cognition. Physical hardness creates a psychological contrast. When your body is rigid, humor feels like relief. The discomfort makes the release of laughter more pronounced. A soft chair cushions you. It's pleasant, but it doesn't create tension. And without tension, there's less need for release. Comedy thrives on contrast. Even the chair you're sitting in shapes what makes you laugh. But mess also does something beautiful. Messy spaces boost creativity. When everything is orderly and clean, your mind follows rules. It stays within lines. But chaos gives permission to break patterns, to think sideways, to connect things that don't usually touch. Artists and innovators often work in clutter, not because they're disorganized, but because disorder reflects the creative process. Ideas are messy before they're refined, and a messy space honors that, makes room for it, doesn't demand perfection too soon. Mirrors are strange. They make you aware of yourself in a way you normally aren't. When there's a mirror nearby, people become more conscious of their behavior, more aware of their personal space. You see yourself seeing yourself. And in that reflection, you remember you're a body in the world. You adjust. You straighten. You become self-conscious, not in a bad way necessarily, just conscious of the self. Mirrors create a kind of accountability. They remind you that you exist, and that existence has a shape. Thinking about death makes us kinder. It sounds dark, but it's true. When people are reminded of their mortality, that life is finite, that time will run out, they often become more generous, more willing to help, more focused on what matters. It's called mortality salience. Death isn't just an ending, it's a clarifier. It strips away the trivial, makes you ask what you want to leave behind. And often, the answer is kindness, connection, something that outlasts you. Washing your hands does more than clean them. Physical cleansing increases risk-taking. After washing, people feel symbolically cleansed, as if they've washed away past mistakes or failures. And in that feeling of freshness, they're more willing to take chances. It's called the Macbeth effect. The idea that physical washing creates psychological distance from guilt or consequence. A clean slate. Quite literally. You rinse away the old, and suddenly, you're willing to try something new. The environment holds you, shapes you, whispers suggestions you don't hear consciously but follow anyway. Light and shadow, order and chaos, plants and mirrors and the temperature of the air, all of it speaking, quietly, constantly, guiding you through the invisible architecture of your days. And as you rest now, let the world around you soften, let the room hold you gently, as you drift deeper into stillness. We think we choose freely, but beneath our choices, there are gentle currents, nudging us, guiding us, in directions we don't always notice. Nodding does something strange to your mind. When you nod your head up and down, even if you're just listening, you become more agreeable. The physical motion of saying yes makes you more likely to actually say yes. Your body and mind aren't separate. They're in constant conversation. And sometimes, the body speaks first. A nod sends a signal inward. This feels right. I'm agreeing. And your thoughts follow. Politicians know this. Speakers know this. They nod while they talk, and you nod back, and in that small motion, agreement blooms. Balance matters more than you'd think. When people are slightly off balance, standing on one foot, leaning, feeling physically unstable, they become more persuadable. It's as if the body's uncertainty spreads to the mind. You're searching for something solid to hold on to. And if someone offers you an idea in that moment, something clear, something certain, you're more likely to grab it. Physical instability creates mental openness. We steady ourselves by agreeing. Look at a menu. 3 options. Which do you choose? Most people pick the middle one. Not the cheapest. That feels too cautious, maybe too low quality. Not the most expensive. That feels risky, indulgent, hard to justify. But the middle. The middle feels safe. Balanced. Reasonable. Marketers know this. They put the option they want you to choose in the middle. Not because it's objectively best, but because the middle is where we go when we want to feel like we're making a smart, moderate decision. There's a trick called foot in the door. You ask someone for something small first. Something they'll say yes to easily. Can you sign this petition? Sure. And then later, you ask for something bigger. Can you volunteer for an hour? And they're more likely to say yes, because they've already said yes once. They've already identified as someone who helps with this cause. Each small agreement builds a bridge to the next. Compliance grows, not through force, but through gentle accumulation. When a goal is too abstract, too vague, too distant, we procrastinate. Get healthier is abstract. Exercise more is abstract. But walk for 20 minutes on Tuesday morning? That's concrete. Our brains struggle with the formless. We need specificity, shape, boundaries. Abstract goals float out of reach, always tomorrow, always someday. But concrete goals land in your calendar. They become real. The more clearly you can see what needs to be done, the less you put it off. Walk into a kitchen. What do you eat? Usually, whatever's at eye level. Food placed at eye level gets eaten more. Not because you're hungrier for it, but because you see it first. It's accessible. Easy. Your hand reaches before you've fully decided. This is why grocery stores put expensive items at eye level. Why healthy eaters keep fruit on the counter. Visibility is destiny. What you see, you choose. What's hidden? Forgotten. Stand up during a conversation. Notice what happens. People interrupt you more. Standing makes you seem less settled, less committed to holding the floor. Sitting signals you're planted. You're staying. You have the space. But standing looks temporary, like you might leave any moment. So others jump in. They fill the gap. If you want to speak without interruption, sit down. Claim your place. Let your body say, I'm here. I'm not finished. Lean back in your chair. Just a little. Notice how it changes the feeling in the room. Leaning back encourages honesty, both in yourself and in others. It's a posture of openness, of not pressing. When you lean forward, you signal intensity, focus, pressure. But leaning back, that's relaxed. It gives space. And in that space, people feel safer telling the truth. Interrogators know this. Therapists know this. The body's position shapes what we're willing to say. Height gives authority we don't deserve. Taller people are perceived as better leaders, even when they're not. We look up to them, literally, and that upward gaze carries meaning. We associate height with power, with competence, with control. It's irrational. Being tall doesn't make you smarter or more capable. But the perception persists. Tall people earn more. They're promoted more often. They win elections more frequently. Our eyes betray us. What we look up to, we trust. Some ideas just sound true. Not because they are, but because they're easy to pronounce. Easier to pronounce ideas feel truer. A stock with a simple name performs better than one with a complicated name, even when they're otherwise identical. Fluency creates confidence. If something is easy to say, easy to process, easy to remember, it feels safer, more reliable. We mistake ease for truth. The smoother the words, the more we believe them. You are being nudged, every moment, by your posture, by what's at eye level, by how easy a word is to say. The world is full of gentle pressures, invisible hands, guiding you toward choices you think are yours. And maybe they are. Or maybe you're dancing to rhythms you can't quite hear. Either way, it's okay. Let the currents carry you now, softly, without resistance, into the quiet space, where choice and surrender are the same thing. The modern world hums with quiet distractions, pulling at us, shaping us, in ways we're only beginning to understand. Your phone doesn't even need to be on. Just having it nearby, on the desk, in your pocket, face down and silent, reduces your intelligence. Not dramatically, not obviously, but measurably. Part of your mind is always monitoring it, waiting for it. Even when you're not consciously thinking about it, a thread of attention is tied to that device. And that thread pulls. It drains your working memory. Your focus fragments. The mere presence of the phone creates a cognitive cost. To think clearly, you need distance. Real distance. Not just willpower. You feel it sometimes. A buzz against your leg. You reach for your phone, and there's nothing. No notification. No call. Just phantom vibration. It happens more when you're stressed. When your nervous system is on edge. Your body expects the phone to demand something. So it imagines the signal. Creates it out of nothing. You've trained yourself to be alert to that buzz, and now your body produces it, even when it's not there. The line between the phone and you has blurred. Think about this morning. How long after waking did you check your phone? For most people, it's within minutes, sometimes seconds, before fully opening their eyes, before getting out of bed. The phone is the first thing, the last thing at night, the first thing in the morning. It's become a ritual, a reflex. The day doesn't start until you've scrolled, until you've checked what you missed, until you've reconnected to the digital stream. We reach for it automatically, like breathing. Habits form best through consistency of time, not place, not motivation. Time. If you want to build a habit, do it at the same time every day. Morning coffee at 7. Exercise at 6. Writing at 9. The clock becomes the cue. Your body learns when to expect the behavior. Temporal consistency is stronger than any other anchor. The time of day pulls you into action, without you needing to decide. It just becomes what you do then. Honesty fades as the day goes on. People are more dishonest in the afternoon than in the morning. It's called the morning morality effect. You wake up with a kind of ethical reserve, a tank of self-control. And as the day wears on, you spend it. Decision after decision. Temptation after temptation. By afternoon, you're depleted. The little lies come easier. The shortcuts seem more justified. Morality isn't fixed. It's a resource. And like all resources, it runs low. Shopping alone is safer. When you shop with friends, impulse buying increases. They encourage you. They validate your desires. That looks great on you. You deserve it. Why not? Social presence makes it harder to resist. You don't want to seem cheap, or boring, or overly cautious. So you buy things you wouldn't buy alone. The cart fills. The wallet empties. Friends are wonderful, but they make you spend. Arousal distorts judgment. Sexual arousal, specifically, increases financial risk-taking. When people are aroused, they're more willing to gamble, to invest in uncertain ventures, to choose risky options. The body's excitement bleeds into decision-making. Everything feels more possible, more worth the risk. Casinos know this. Advertisers know this. Arousal doesn't just change what you want, it changes what you're willing to risk to get it. Gum is strange. Chewing it can improve your memory, but only if the flavor matches. If you chew mint gum while studying, chew mint gum during the test. The flavor becomes part of the memory. A context cue. Your brain encodes the information alongside the taste. And when the taste returns, the information returns with it. It's a small trick, but it works. Context matters. Even something as simple as flavor. Cold makes us honest. When people are physically cold, uncomfortably cold, they become more truthful. It's as if the discomfort strips away pretense. You don't have the energy to maintain a lie. The cold demands your attention. It overwhelms the subtler work of deception. Warmth allows for complexity. Cold simplifies. And in that simplification, truth emerges. Not because you want to be honest, but because lying takes effort you don't have. Urgency sharpens decisions. When time is pressing, when there's a deadline, a countdown, a closing window, people become more decisive. Not necessarily wiser, but faster, more willing to commit. Urgency removes the luxury of endless deliberation. It forces a choice, for better or worse. We hate urgency, but we also need it. Without pressure, we drift. We postpone. We endlessly reconsider. But urgency cuts through. It says, now. Decide now. The modern world moves fast. Phones buzz. Decisions pile up. Habits form and break and form again. We're adapting, constantly, to a pace that didn't exist before. And sometimes, the best thing we can do is simply notice. Notice the pull of the phone. Notice the afternoon slump. Notice how time or temperature or company changes us. Just notice, without judgment, as the day fades, as energy softens, as you let go, bit by bit, of the need to keep up and drift instead into something slower, something older, something that predates screens and urgency, into rest. Truth is slippery, shifting with context, with language, with how safe we feel and how closely we're watched. We lie more easily through text. Something about the distance, the lack of a face, the absence of voice. When you're typing instead of speaking, deception feels lighter, less real. You don't have to see the person's reaction. You don't have to hear the silence after your lie. Text creates a buffer, a screen between you and consequence. So the lies come faster. Smaller lies, mostly. Little distortions, exaggerations. But they add up. The digital world makes dishonesty easier because it makes everything feel less immediate. Liars often speak faster. Not always, but often. There's a kind of urgency to deception, a need to get the words out before you second-guess them, before the other person notices. Speed carries you through. If you hesitate, if you pause too long, doubt creeps in. Yours and theirs. So liars rush. They fill the space with words. They keep moving. But truth? Truth can afford to be slow. It doesn't need to outrun itself. Here's something strange. If you want to detect a lie, don't look at the person. Close your eyes. Just listen. Listening without looking improves lie detection. When you watch someone, you get distracted by their face, their gestures, their expressions. And people control those things more easily than they control their voice. But the voice betrays. Tiny hesitations. Odd inflections. A rhythm that doesn't quite land. When you stop watching, you start hearing. And hearing is where the truth hides. Language matters. You're better at detecting lies in your native language. The subtle shifts in tone, the unusual word choices, the slight awkwardness of phrasing. You catch these in the language you grew up with. But in a second language, you miss things. You're focused on understanding the words themselves. The deeper layers, the ones that carry deception, slip past. Truth lives in nuance. And nuance requires fluency. Bizarre details make stories believable. If someone tells you something strange, something oddly specific and weird, you're more likely to believe it. Because why would they make that up? Normal lies are smooth. They make sense. They fit expectations. But a bizarre detail? That feels authentic. Like it must have actually happened. Liars know this. The best ones sprinkle in weird truths. Little pieces of strangeness that anchor the lie in reality. Switch languages and your morals shift. People judge morality differently in foreign languages. When you think in a second language, emotional distance increases. You become more utilitarian, more logical, less swayed by gut feelings. The classic trolley problem. Would you push one person to say 5? In your native language, most people say no. It feels wrong. But in a foreign language, more people say yes. The emotional weight lifts. Language isn't just words. It's the framework for feeling. Confession needs calm. People confess more when they're calm, not when they're pressured or agitated. Aggressive interrogation can work, but it also produces false confessions. People just say what they think you want to hear to make it stop. But calm creates space. It says, you're safe. You can tell the truth now. And in that safety, real confessions emerge. Not coerced, just released. Like a breath you've been holding. Power changes how you speak. People with power use less self-focused language. Fewer I statements. They say we more. The team. Our goals. It's not always humility. Sometimes it's genuine. Sometimes it's strategic. But the pattern is clear. Power lets you dissolve the self into the collective. You become the spokesperson for something larger. Meanwhile, people with less power stay focused on I. Because I is all they have. Their individual perspective. Their singular voice. Power expands. Powerlessness contracts. Disgust shapes judgment. Physical disgust, the kind you feel from a bad smell or rotting food, bleeds into moral judgment. When people are disgusted, they judge moral transgressions more harshly. The boundary between physical revulsion and moral revulsion is thin, almost non-existent. A dirty room makes people stricter. A foul smell makes them less forgiving. The body doesn't separate these things cleanly. Disgust is disgust, and it colors everything. We crave consistency. It feels psychologically comforting. When someone's story stays the same, when their behavior matches their words, when things line up neatly, we relax. We trust. Inconsistency triggers suspicion. It makes us uneasy, even when the inconsistency is innocent, even when it's just human complexity. We want people to be predictable, stable, the same today as yesterday. Consistency is a shortcut to trust, and we take that shortcut even when we shouldn't. Truth and lies tangle together. We navigate them daily, mostly without thinking. A small lie here, a careful truth there. We adjust our honesty based on medium, language, safety, power. We judge others through the lens of our own disgust. We believe the bizarre and doubt the inconsistent. And through it all, we're just trying to figure out what's real and what we can trust. As you drift now, let go of the need to know, let the questions soften, let truth and untruth blur into something quieter, something that doesn't demand an answer, just acceptance, just rest. As the night deepens, let's move more gently now into softer truths about how we slow down, how we soften, how we return to ourselves. When you walk with someone, you slow down. Not consciously, not because you decide to, but your pace adjusts. You match them. Even if you usually walk quickly, when you're with another person, you ease into their rhythm. Walking together is a kind of conversation, a shared tempo. You're not trying to get somewhere as fast as possible anymore. You're just moving side by side. And in that shared movement, speed matters less than connection. There's something about nature that makes us honest. People feel safer admitting mistakes around trees, water, open sky. Maybe it's the lack of judgment. Nature doesn't care about your failures. It doesn't keep score. Or maybe it's the reminder of scale, that your mistakes are small in the vast scheme of things. Whatever the reason, when you're surrounded by green or blue or earth, confession comes easier. The weight of what you've done wrong feels lighter, forgivable, human. Warmth isn't just temperature. Social warmth, kindness, connection, the feeling of being cared for, shapes how you perceive everything. When you feel socially warm, held by others, the world looks different. Colors seem brighter, tasks feel easier, problems seem smaller. But when you're cold, isolated, alone, disconnected, everything hardens. The same situation can feel impossible or manageable, depending on whether you feel the warmth of others around you. We are not separate from our relationships. They change the texture of reality itself. Only humans blush. It's uniquely ours. No other animal reddens with embarrassment or shame. Blushing is involuntary. You can't control it, can't stop it. Your face betrays you. And maybe that's the point. Blushing is a signal. It says, I know I did something wrong. I feel it. I'm aware. It's an apology written on your skin. A way of showing you care about social norms, about how others see you. Blushing is vulnerability made visible. And in that visibility, there's a strange kind of honesty. Most of us avoid the spotlight. People avoid being the center of attention. Not everyone. Some thrive there. But most prefer the edges, the background, the place where you can observe without being observed. Being watched creates pressure, expectation, the possibility of judgment. It's safer in the periphery. You can still participate, still belong, but without the weight of everyone's eyes. The center is lonely. The edges are where connection actually happens. Your walking speed reflects your mental state. When you're anxious, you walk quickly, restless, driven by nervous energy. When you're depressed, you walk slowly. Each step feels heavy, but when you're calm, your pace evens out, becomes natural, unhurried but not dragging. You can tell a lot about someone's inner world by watching how they move through space. The body doesn't lie. It carries the mind's weight, or lightness, in every step. Touch can say what words can't. Gentle touch signals safety. A hand on the shoulder. A light squeeze of the arm. It tells the nervous system, you're okay. You're not alone. Touch releases oxytocin. It slows the heart rate, lowers cortisol. It's primal, ancient. Before we had language, we had touch. And even now, with all our words, sometimes a gentle hand does more than anything we could say. It grounds you, reminds you you're held. We are pattern-seeking creatures. We look for connections, for meaning, for structure in chaos. Seeing patterns makes us feel like we have control, even when we don't, even when the patterns aren't real. A coincidence feels like fate. A random sequence feels like a message. We can't help it. The brain is wired to find order. It's how we survived. But it also means we see intention where there's only chance. We create narratives where there's only noise. And in those narratives, we find comfort. Control might be an illusion, but it's a necessary one. Being with someone you love changes your body. Connection regulates heartbeats. When you sit close to someone you care about, when you sync your breathing, your heart rates begin to align. Not perfectly, not always, but they influence each other, pull toward harmony. You become physiologically linked. This is why loneliness hurts, why isolation feels physically painful. We are built to regulate each other, to steady one another. Your heartbeat needs other heartbeats. Small gestures carry enormous weight. A smile, a kind word, holding the door, remembering someone's name. These aren't grand acts. They don't change the world, but they change a moment. And moments accumulate. Small actions create large emotional effects. You don't need to do something monumental to matter. You just need to notice, to show up, to offer something small and genuine. That's often enough. More than enough. As you settle deeper now, feel yourself slowing, walking slower, breathing softer. The patterns you've been searching for, let them blur. The need to be at the center, release it. You're safe here, at the edge of waking, where touch is gentle, where hearts align without trying, where small moments gather into something vast and quiet, and you drift softly into rest. And now, as we reach the end, let's speak about what happens when we stop holding on, when we allow ourselves to simply let go. Humans crave belonging more than logic, more than being right, more than winning arguments or proving points. What we want most, deep down, is to be part of something, to be seen, to be held by others. Logic is useful. It helps us navigate, but it doesn't feed the soul. Belonging does. Connection does. The feeling that you matter to someone, that your presence makes a difference. That's what we're really searching for. And tonight, as you rest, know that you belong to this moment, to this breath, to the quiet community of everyone who has ever closed their eyes and let the day fade away. The mind relaxes when expectations are broken softly, not shattered, not violated, just gently surprised. A story that zigs instead of zags. A familiar song with one note changed. The brain expects patterns. It builds models of what comes next. And when those models are softly challenged, not overturned but nudged, the mind actually releases. It exhales. It stops gripping so tightly. Rigidity comes from certainty. Relaxation comes from gentle uncertainty. From not knowing exactly what comes next, but trusting it will be okay. Comfort increases honesty. When you feel safe, physically comfortable, warm, supported, at ease, you tell the truth more readily. Discomfort makes you defend, makes you hide. But comfort lets the walls down. You don't need to protect yourself when you're already safe. And so, as you sink into wherever you're resting now, feel that comfort. Let it soften you. Let it make space for whatever truths you've been carrying. You don't need to speak them. Just acknowledge them. Let them exist. Gently, without judgment. Awareness fades before sleep. Not all at once. Gradually, like a dimmer switch turning slowly. First, you lose track of the room around you. Then your body becomes distant. Your thoughts scatter, disconnected, nonsensical. You can't quite hold on to a complete idea anymore. And that's okay. That's how it's supposed to be. Awareness dissolving. Consciousness becoming soft at the edges. Blurring. You don't fall asleep. You drift. And drifting requires letting awareness slip away, piece by piece, until there's almost nothing left. Memory loosens as consciousness drifts. The things you were holding on to, the conversations from today, the tasks for tomorrow, they start to feel less important, less urgent. Memory doesn't store them as clearly in this state. They soften, become dreamlike. This is your mind's way of letting go, of releasing what doesn't need to be carried into sleep. Some things will return in the morning. Others will fade completely. And that's fine. Not everything needs to be remembered. Some things are meant to dissolve. Thought slows when stimulation decreases. In the noise and light and activity of the day, thoughts race. They compete for attention. They multiply. But here, in the quiet, in the dim, in the stillness, thought slows down. Each one arrives more slowly than the last, with more space around it, until eventually, the space between thoughts becomes longer than the thoughts themselves. And in that space, there is rest. There is peace. There is nothing that needs to be figured out. The brain prefers familiarity at night. During the day, it seeks novelty, new information, new experiences. But at night, the brain wants what it knows. A familiar blanket, a familiar position, a familiar voice or sound. Familiarity signals safety. It tells the ancient parts of your brain, you've been here before. You survived. You can rest now. This is why routines help sleep. Why the same pillow matters. Why coming back to what you know allows you to let go. Emotional intensity naturally fades. Whatever you felt today, anger, excitement, sadness, joy, it's already softer than it was. Emotions peak and then recede. It's their nature. You don't have to make them go away. They go away on their own. Like waves. They rise, they crest, and then they fall back into the ocean. And you are not the wave. You are the ocean. Vast, deep, calm beneath the surface. The emotions will pass. They always do. And what remains is this quiet, this depth. The body synchronizes before rest. Your heartbeat slows. Your breathing deepens. Your temperature drops slightly. Your muscles release. Everything, every system, begins to harmonize, to move together toward the same state. Rest. Your body knows how to do this. It's done it thousands of times. You don't need to control it. You don't need to force it. Just allow it. Trust that your body remembers, that it will carry you gently into sleep. The mind lets go when it feels safe. That's the secret. That's what all of this has been about. Safety. When you feel safe, truly safe, you don't need to stay vigilant. You don't need to solve problems or plan for tomorrow or replay yesterday. You can just be here, now, breathing, resting. The mind has been working so hard for so long, and now it can stop because you're safe. The world will still be there in the morning, but right now there is nothing you need to do, nothing you need to figure out, nothing you need to be. You've traveled through 100 small truths tonight. Facts about memory and emotion, about connection and deception, about how your body moves and how your mind works. But underneath all of them, there was one truth: that you are human, beautifully, imperfectly human, subject to patterns and biases and strange quirks of psychology, and also capable of rest, of letting go, of trusting that it's okay to stop. So now, as these words fade, as the silence grows, let everything we've spoken about dissolve. You don't need to remember any of it. It was never about remembering. It was about the gentle rhythm, the soft voice, the permission to drift. And you have that permission. You've always had it. Let your thoughts scatter like leaves. Let your awareness dim like a candle burning low. Let your body sink deeper into rest. There is nothing to hold on to, nothing to figure out, nothing left to do. Just this breath, and this one, and this one, and then nothing at all. Good night.
you.